Today is Tuesday, and this is John Armwood with the Armwood Opinion channel here on YouTube. I would like you to please hit the like button if you enjoy this video. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like to hear or view more of my work. You can also go back and see some of my previous videos. I talk about newsworthy events from a progressive perspective, so you can see about the news, and I also look at technology occasionally and how it interacts with the news. Today we're going to be talking about some of the current events that are going on right now. Right now, the big story in the news this week is a Saudi Arabian native reporter who was working for the Washington Post here in the United States was apparently killed in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. Apparently 15 Saudi Arabian agents went into the consulate, killed him, dismembered his body, and took him out. The Saudi government so far is denying it, and the Trump administration has been playing footsie with the issue. The American press and the international press and international governments have expressed deep concern over what Saudi Arabia apparently has done. But at the time this video was being made, President Trump has not categorically said that he's holding Saudi Arabia responsible. Most Americans want consequences. Political leaders across the spectrum want consequences for Saudi Arabia. Of course, there's a major issue here. The United States is the principal arms supplier of Saudi Arabia. Defense contractors sell billions of dollars, or have sold billions of dollars of equipment to Saudi Arabia. The United States relies on Saudi Arabia as the major oil exporting nation in the world. The United States gets a lot of its oil from other places, but Saudi Arabia supplies a large supply of the world's oil. And the United States and Saudi Arabia have had a very close working relationship since after World War II. So this is a major test. Will the Trump administration come down on an ally for attacking a reporter? And this is important, particularly because President Trump has called reporters the enemy of the people. He has attacked reporters consistently. And many people, myself included, think that he has created a climate which may have allowed the Saudi government to think that it could get away with taking out one of its reporters. And what does it look like for a reporter working for an American newspaper to be taken out by an American ally without any consequences? This is what President Trump is facing. This is the first major crisis of his administration. And hopefully he will do the appropriate thing and hold Saudi Arabia responsible. I'm not holding my breath, because in the past, President Trump has only had positive words for Saudi Arabia. And he, quite frankly, has talked about how they've spent a lot of money on his personal properties. And this is one of the issues that the Trump administration really raises, because you have the issue of emoluments, where the president, under the Constitution, no government official can benefit from their position. And this is a major concern. So we will see what happens with this issue. Another issue that has been in the news this week is the issue of immigration. Reports came out this weekend that the Trump administration was going to re-engage a policy which the courts had stopped, of separating parents from children who are crossing the border without documentation. This is inhuman. You have had children who have put up for, after being separated from their parents, who have been put up for adoption. This is shameful. This is barbaric. This is fascist type policy. It harkens back to what was done to indigenous peoples in this country, in Australia, and other parts of the world by colonial powers, and of course in the United States. So this is a major, major crisis, and we, the American people, must stand up to President Trump and say, no, we will not stand for this. They have done it already. They have separated children from parents. They have sent parents back, deported them back to El Salvador and other places, and the children have been kept in cages like animals. This is horrendous, it's horrific, but unfortunately, it is not un-American. During World War II, Japanese were kept in concentration camps. They called detention centers. So this is not something that America has not done before. So we have to really put pressure on this administration. And the only way we really have to do that, quite frankly, is either at the polling place in November or through public demonstrations. And I'm calling for both. I'm calling for both. We must take back Congress, both the House of Representatives and the Senate. You need to get out and vote Democrat. I don't care if you are a Republican, an independent, or a Democrat. If you're a patriot, you're someone who cares about the United States, who cares about people, you have to put a check on this administration, because the present Congress is giving President Trump a carte blanche for his behavior. It's despicable, it's unacceptable, and we have got to do something about it. I'm going to be continuing this video outside, and I'm going to go out to Burnside Park. Even though I'm shooting this inside in the evening, I shot some footage actually earlier outside in the park, and I'm going to be conjoining these two videos. See you in a few moments. So there are a lot of things going on. We have the midterms coming up. Please get out and vote. Please do early voting. Voter suppression in Georgia is going on where I live, and nobody seems to be doing anything about it. Stacey Abrams, our candidate for governor, has been complaining about it. But Brian Kemp, the Attorney General, with a tremendous conflict of interest, who is running for governor, is sitting up there denying it when it's blatant. 53,000 people were taken off the voter rolls just for the reason that there may have been a hyphen missing in a hyphenated last name, or a punctuation missing, an obvious misspelling, which was not the fault of the voter, but the person who input. Now, what they're going to argue is you can do provisional ballots, but anybody who's worked on campaigns, worked in elections, know that provisional ballots are rarely counted. And in close elections, like this one may be, it can make all of the difference. Brian Kemp should temporarily step down and allow some other person to handle this. It's very unfair. It's very much a conflict of interest for him to be able to manipulate the voting process. It's like we're going back to the 1880s and 1890s. We've got a conservative Supreme Court, in many ways very similar to the one that handed down the separate but equal decision in the 1890s, Plessy versus Ferguson. Kavanaugh has sealed that. We have a president who reminds us in many ways of Andrew Jackson. Yesterday's news, they talked about, there was a story about him wanting to reinstate the separation of children from their parents, of immigrants coming into the country. This is barbaric. This is fascist-like. It's cruel. This has not happened in America since prior to the 1965 Immigration and Reform Act, which sought to equalize immigration law to make it race and nationality neutral. It was not before. Preferences were given to white people, particularly those from Northern Europe. The huge influx of Asians and Hispanics starting in the late 60s and 70s is a direct result of the Civil Rights Movement and the Immigration and Naturalization Reform Act of 1965. Last Thursday night, I went to the 50th anniversary of the Korean American Friendship Organization in the Atlanta area, where there's a population of approximately 120,000 Koreans. And it was just really interesting to see the results of this. Though unfortunately nobody that spoke talked about the impact of the Civil Rights Movement and how it opened the door for this migration. And a lot of people just don't know. You really can't blame immigrants because the American education system is rather poor when it comes to teaching American history, especially when it comes to its history of injustice against racial and ethnic minorities. So I want you guys to keep fighting. I had one complaint from a buddy of mine I've known for 54 years over last week's video saying I was taking away people's optimism. And I understand what he's saying. What I was saying basically was optimism is irrelevant, that we have to fight in spite of defeats, in fight of struggle. Optimism does motivate people. If you can find reasons for hope and optimism that things will get better, embrace it, enjoy it, and use that to motivate you. For myself, my study of history, especially American history in particular, tells me something different. That we go through cycles of progress, cycles of retreat. And unless some outside event occurs that disrupts the power structure in America, I don't see that changing. But in the meantime, we can make concrete changes. We can make things better. We have got to struggle to take over Congress in the midterm elections in November. We have to struggle to put limits on President Trump. We have to struggle to try and take both the House and Senate in that midterm election coming up. And we definitely have to throw Trump out of office by 2020 if the Mueller Commission doesn't force him to resign before that. Have a good day. Remember, resistance is not futile. I'll see you in the next video. Please hit the like button. It means a lot. Please subscribe to my videos. Hopefully you're enjoying them. I know they're heavy. I know they're serious. But these are issues we need to talk about. And I'm going to leave it. Have a good day. Have a good week.